Hi, I'm Tereza with PotomacBeads. Today we will be working on my charming necklace with lots of crystals, MicroSpacers and seed beads. So gather them up and let's start working. The first part you will make will be the Chaton bezel with 2 MicroSpacers on side and the little charm which we will add to the bottom together with the jump ring. So I'm using SS39 Chaton in Crystal AB, and then I'll be using Delicas and 15s for the bezel. We will be doing a simple bezel, just 3 rows of Delicas, 2 rows of 15s on the back, 1 row of 15s on the front. I'll be using Wildfire. I'm using the gray one, size 12 needle. And then for the metal parts, I'm using the MicroSpacer 1 with SS12 crystal, which I glue in it, and these little charms for SS24 crystals. So I will start by putting 22 Delicas on my thread, and then we will work with a peyote stitch. So I have 22 Delicas on. I am sliding them to the end of my thread, leaving just a small tail for later to make a knot, and then I'm going through the last bead and it forms a circle now for me. And now I will work with the peyote stitch. So I'm picking 1 Delica, I'm skipping the next bead into the basic circle and then going through the next one, and it will create this. Again, 1 bead going through, skipping one, going through the next one. So like this I will add 11 beads in total and step up in the last row. It's the same like peyote bezel, totally the same usual peyote bezel, so nothing new. After adding the last bead, step up through the first bead you added. Now you can put away the Delicas and we'll be working with 15s. So into each gap I'm adding 1 15s, 1 15. Again 11 beads around in total, and we will be adding 2 rows of these 15s. So this is the first one. Then don't forget to step up through this first bead and add a second layer, and that will create a bag for our bezel. After finishing the second row, which is the back, go through the beads to the other side. So I'm just going diagonally through the beads, pull. Don't forget to sometimes pull also on the tail because we don't have a knot in there, so it might loosen up a bit. Then insert the Chaton, having the 15s on the back side, and we will add 1 row of 15s like we did in the back. If you have issues that it doesn't stay close or inside, you can add 2 rows of 15s, it's completely fine. For me it works with only 1. It's a matter of tension and like how you work. So go around like this and it will start closing up, so don't forget to pull. I'm also holding the tail and I'm adding 11 beads in total, and then we will add the loops for the MicroSpacers. So after adding the beads and some proper tight pull, you should have something like this. If the Chaton is popping out, just add 1 more row of 15s. Now we need to add the loop. We'll start with this one for the charm here. For that, go through the first row of Delicas that's on the outside, and then also get through to one of the beads in the middle row. There you pick one Delica and go through the next bead, which will position the Delica into the gap between the beads. Now you need to get through the Delica here at the top. So we need to do like a little loop through the beads, which will allow you to exit on this side again. So first you go down from this Delica to this 15-0, and you go from the right side from me to the left. Then I am going through the Delica, which is underneath the one we added, through the 15-0, which is next to it, and then you need to go back up, changing the direction back again through the Delica above the 15-0, and finally through the Delica which you added, and you're in there. It doesn't really matter through which beads you need to go, but you need to be sure that the thread will stay hidden in between the beads. Now add 4 15-0s. That will create a loop. Go through the loop through all the beads once more, and through the Delica and to the bezel. So that's the first. Now there are two places where we'll be adding one more Delica for the space for the MicroSpacer, and we will be adding them to the same row of Delicas. So this was one gap which we added the first, then there's second, third and fourth, and then if I'm counting correctly, 1 2 3 4, yes, to this gap right here. You can also look at it vertically, so you have this line in here. This is the Delica on the top. This is the first gap next to it, but we will be going through the second one from the top, so that the Delica is actually sitting in here. So now I will go there through the beads. So this was the first empty gap, second empty gap, third empty gap, and this is the fourth one. Pick one Delica and go to the next Delica in the same row. And now when I added the Delica, again I need to do the loop so that my thread is coming out here. So it's completely the same. So I'm again going down to the 15-0 here. Then to this Delica right underneath the Delica I added, the 15-0 next to it, and I'm turning 180 degrees again back to get back to the previous direction, going up to the Delica and then to the Delica which we added on top. Completely the same. Now you add 3 15-0s. You pick up the MicroSpacer and you're actually going from the top, so position the MicroSpacer correctly that the hole for the Chaton is coming from the top and pick it in the right direction. So like this, then I add 3 more 15-ohs, position the MicroSpacer and go through the 15-ohs again and the MicroSpacer too. Then go through Delica in the bezel, and finally you need to find the last gap. So there's one gap here which is right next to the Delica on top, then there will be another gap, so again third one. So going through here, you just want it to be symmetrical. And 2, and I am correctly, here will the Delica sit. So picking up Delica again, setting it right into the space, and now I will just copy what I did here. So now when I edit Delica, I will do the loop in the beads on the back, adding 3 15-ohs, adding the MicroSpacer again. Watch out for the direction, so you edit correctly. MicroSpacer 3 15-ohs, go through it one more time, and then make a knot. Tie this, and this finishes the Chaton part. To create the Rivoli part, we will start the same like with the Chaton. But I have 26 Delica beads on my wildfire thread, and I will be using Rivoli in size of 10 millimeters. I'm going again through the last Rivoli to create a circle, and then I'm going again with peyote stitch, adding 1 Delica by 1, and I'll be adding 2 rows of these Delicas, making it 4 in total, and then I'll be adding 1 row of 15-ohs on the top. After adding 2 Delica rows and 1 row of 15-ohs, I'm going to insert the Rivoli. This will be our front at this moment, and I'm going through the beads to the back side, where I will also add 1 row of 15-ohs. You can add more if you feel like it. You can cover the entire back side, that's up to you, or you can cover it with permalac so that the foil layer on the back side is hidden and protected. And if you don't know how to bezel a Rivoli, watch some other video which is on our YouTube channel, which explains it in more detail. When you're done on the back side, I added eventually 2 rows of 15-ohs. You need to go to the second row from the bottom. So I am going for the first and second row of Delicas. And this is the place where we add the charm. So pick 1 Delica, and now it's the same like with the Chaton. So I'm putting there the Delica, and now I'm turning 180 degrees. Trying to return back to the Delica I just added. Now pick 4 15-ohs and go through the Delica, which will create a loop for you. And now we need to get to the spot where we'll be adding the 2 loops for the MicroSpacers. So continue through the Delicas on the sides, going through the first and the second row, but it really doesn't matter, you just need to get there to the place. And when you are holding the Rivoli like this is the line that would be put into the middle. This is where we have our loop. So here is where I will put another Delica. So the Delicas are lying underneath the 15-ohs here. So if you imagine it, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th 15-oh away from this loop, and underneath this 15-oh we are adding the Delica. Then pick 3 15-ohs and a MicroSpacer, unless you have it somewhere already attached, then like here, if I would have this ready and this ready, I would attach this instead of a new one, of course. Then 3 more 15-ohs and go through the loop, through the Delica. Now I need to turn again and go through the beads, to be able to attach the last Delica for the 3rd loop. It's the same like with the Chaton. Doesn't matter with it doesn't matter through which beads you are going here, you just need to be sure that the thread is not showing. And I'm trying to get to here. So this is the 15-oh underneath which is the loop for this MicroSpacer. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So underneath the 4th one, attach the Delica. It's still the 2nd row from the bottom. Then turn and go back to the Delica. Pick 3 15-ohs. And then I already have the MicroSpacer already here. So I'm going through the MicroSpacer already attached to the Chaton. Then pick 3 more 15-ohs and go through the Delica. Now go somewhere down through the beads. Make a knot and cut the threads, and make as many crystals as you want. So I have in total, I will have 5 Rivolis, so 1 pack of 10mm size Rivoli, and 6 Chatons SS39 in total. And after you connected these, then you can glue the Chatons before or after if you want to, into the MicroSpacers and into the charms. So that's up to you if you want to do it before or after. I did it here before. So the gluing part is very simple. Use your favorite glue. So it can be some jewelry glue, it can be some Loctite glue or E6000. And for the charms here, for the bigger ones, which you then attach with the jump ring to the crystals, you will need SS24 Chatons. And for the MicroSpacers, they are smaller, so you will need to use SS12 Chatons. So you always put a bit of glue into the setting. You push there the crystal and then it's done. You let it dry and it's very easy. You can use the artist pen, which will help you to manipulate crystals, but it can be also done just by hand. When you are done attaching the crystals and attaching them to each other, you need to use a jump ring. Open it up, insert it into the loop you made from the beads. I don't have the best pliers for this job, to be honest. And also attach the charm. Just be careful of the direction the crystal is facing, so they are both up towards you. And then you can either attach some chain at the end, or you can make a beaded rope like I did. Instead of a simple chain, you can create a delicate beaded rope out of a right angle weave stitch, for example, where you add the clasp at the end. So for this you will need seed beads 15 O's and 11 O's, and I will start with the 11 O's first. So put on 4 11 O's. You can continue using wildfire. I switched to Miyuki beading thread, which I prefer for ropes, and go once again through the first bead, then pick one 11 O and go through the next one, again one 11 O and go through the next one, third and number 4, and when you are going through the fourth one, also go through the first edit and pull. So you should have like a little flower. Here we need to add a loop which will connect the MicroSpacer and the rope. So pick 3 15 O's, go through the MicroSpacer, which is the last one, and pick 3 more 15 O's and go through the 11 O you started from. That will close the loop, and then go through all the beads in this loop and the MicroSpacer one more time to strengthen the loop. Now we need to get to this bead on the opposite side, so go through the beads, exiting here. Now it's going to be repetitive and we will be making more of these little segments. So pick 4 11 O's, go through this bead from the other side. So now you have 5 beads here. Go through the first one, then pick 1 11 O, go through the next one, second 11 O, again go through the next one, third. And then skip this bead, the connecting one, but go through the first one here in the base and pull. This is how the segment is done, and now you again need to get to this bead. So just simply go through the beads and continue what we just did. So pick 4 11-ohs, go through this bead, and it will be changing the sides, but otherwise it's the same. So going through the first, picking 1 11-oh, picking 1 11-oh, going through the another one, and like this continue until you reach the length of the rope you need. I myself have with the 6 Chatons and 5 Rivolis 15 of these little segments, but definitely make it long as much as you need. And at the end we will again create this loop, attach the clasp, and then the necklace is finished. And when you reach the final length you need, we will do the loop also here on this side. So I'm picking 6 15-ohs, and then I'm adding a large jump ring for the clasp, and I'm pulling and going through the loop one more time. Strengthen it and pull, and then find a thread between the beads, create a loop, and go through this loop 2 times and pull. Go through the beads and cut. I will also hide the end on the other side here, and after that the necklace is finished. And this is how it looks done and finished. It's a lot of bling, it's a lot of crystals. So what we used, I used Rivoli in 10mm size, Chatons in SS39 size. Then you will need these little charms for SS24 Chatons. You will need MicroSpacers for SS12 Chatons. Then you will need 11-oh Delicas, Miyuki 15-ohs and Miyuki 11-ohs if you decide not to go with the chain but with the beaded rope at the end. You will need a clasp of your choice. I went with simple Lobster clasp, but you can definitely choose something prettier for this sparkly necklace. And then you will need jump rings to attach these charms to your necklace. So thank you very much for watching. If you ever make this necklace, you can post the pictures into our beading and jewelry making group where will we see them, and we will be so happy about it. So thank you very much. If you have some questions, you can leave them in the comment section underneath the video. And thank you very much for watching, and see you some other time.